This video covers parallel and perpendicular lines using a graph. They ask us to graph the following lines in the grid provided. So for the first example, we have 2x plus 1 equals y. Now, while we might think we immediately have to move this around, I want you to notice that y is already by itself. So there is no solving that we need to do here. If you feel more comfortable, you can rearrange this where y is on the left and 2x plus 1 is on the right. So my slope, my m value is 2 and b is 1. So I'm going to start up at 1 and I'm going to go up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1 a couple of times to get my line. And draw my line very clearly because I need to see if these are parallel, perpendicular, or neither based on my slope and my drawing. Now the second example, they have solved for 2y here, or for y. They used Don't Call Me After Midnight, where we don't need to distribute because I don't have parentheses. There was nothing to combine. There was only one y, so nothing to move. They did subtract the x, so note 8 minus x is not, those are not like terms, so I just rewrite negative x plus 8. And then divided this 2 by every term, so negative 1 divided by 2 is negative 1/2, which is my slope. And then my b value is 4. So for that function, I start at 4 and I go down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2. And I draw my line all the way across the grid. So, from my drawing, these look perpendicular. Let me compare with the slopes. The slopes are complete opposites. So this is going to be perpendicular because my slopes are, you can say, flopposites. That's what I say in my class. Flopposite means two flips and is the opposite sign. So it goes from a positive to a negative, and 2 flips over to be 1/2. So we have 2 other questions to do today. Both have an A and a B. And so when we look at these, we're asked to use the graph and the information to find the parallel or perpendicular line. Now these are talking about parallel or perpendicular to an axis. So the steps I think are the best is to plot your point. Then draw the line that they are asking you or referencing. Identify if this is a Vux or a Hoy and answer the questions accordingly. So a line parallel to the x-axis going through the point negative 7, 8. So I'm going to go to the point negative 7, 8 and draw my line. Parallel to the x-axis means it is the same as the x-axis. So remember, this is your x-axis. So to be the same as the x-axis, it needs to look just like the x-axis. So this is all in green. So I'm going to keep it all in green for you. So when I draw this line, I can identify that this is a Hoy. It's a horizontal line. Horizontal lines have a slope of 0, and my equation is y equals the y from my point. So I plotted the point, I drew the line, I identified if it was a Vux or a Hoy, and I answered the questions. So part 2, perpendicular to the x-axis that goes through this point. So I'm going to plot the point, 2, 3. I'm going to draw my line. Perpendicular to the x means it crosses through x. So that x-axis, this time I'm going to cut through it. So I'm cutting through the x-axis. So this is a Vux. It's a vertical line that goes up and down. My slope, u in Vux, is undefined. And my equation, the x in Vux, tells me it's going to be x equals the x from my point. So if you will follow those steps, you can get these correct. Problem 3, a line parallel to y going through the point negative 7, 8. So I go to negative 7, 8. Parallel to y means it's the same as the y-axis. So same as the y would go up and down. So an up and down line is a vertical line. It's a Vux. A Vux has a slope that is undefined, and your equation is x equals x from your point. And then perpendicular to y means it's going to cross, needs to go through this point, so I can plot that point, 2, 3. Perpendicular to y means it needs to go through y. It does not look like the y-axis. This is a HOI because it's a horizontal line. Horizontal lines have slopes of 0, and the equation is y equals the y point in which it crosses.